Hello, hello, hello. So you are watching a brand new episode of Business Acceleration Playbook, bringing you the plays that you need to win in your business. And I am so proud because I remember not to say we're live, because that's what I usually say. And I got scolded for that a few times because
we learned all about that last week, didn't we?
I got scolded. Yep. And I was like, you can't say that anymore, Maria. And I know myself that I'm going to fall off the wagon. Everybody's going to have to keep me accountable. But I didn't say it today. So yay, small wins. So we have a great guest today. I'm super excited for everybody to meet her. But before we get her introduced, I want to go ahead and have our two co-hosts that are with us today, Jeff Dwoskin and Angela Buckley, introduce themselves. We'll just kind of go to my right, which is Jeff. And then Angela, you can introduce yourself, and then we'll get our guest introduced.
Hey, hi, welcome, Dr. Nancy. So good to have you. Can I call you Dr. Nancy? I'm Jeff Dwoskin, engagement expert, social engagement expert. #Stampede. We help brands manage engagement on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at scale. I'm also host of Live from Detroit, the Jeff Dwoskin Show, and I have mugs now, and that's why I'm holding that.
So are you selling
Jeff, I need a mug.
I do too. I'm about to buy a mug.
No, my 50th episode is next week. So next Tuesday, I'm doing a big contest on, and I'm giving away some of these babies. That's right. Who doesn't want to do it? Think how great you'll look when you're doing this.
We will have to make sure it's held just the right way, though. Take long sips.
Think how good this would look on Dr. Nancy's shelf next to her compelling selling book.
That would be so amazing. So amazing.
The colors are just perfect.
You are teasing me.
All right.
So, yep. And my name's Angela Buckley. I'm with Creatively Efficient. And I like to bring to you the structures that you need in order to understand the rules and break them just a little bit to be efficient.
Awesome. Awesome. And like usual, they're amazing co-hosts, and I'm lucky to have them here for the show. And Dr. Nancy, I want you to kind of dive in and introduce yourself and tell the viewers that are watching right now and the listeners that are listening right now who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nancy Zare, sales psychologist and strategist, and I work with small business owners and entrepreneurs to help them understand and get inside the mind of the buyer and how people make buying decisions. As a sales psychologist, I use my knowledge of psychology and human behavior to help people understand buying styles. Turns out there are 4 different ways people make buying decisions, and I can help you figure out which one you're speaking with and therefore adjust your communication accordingly.
That's very good. That is a really, really good. Usually people are like, well, I work here. That's usually me. I'm usually everybody. That was a really good plug. I love that. And I love the idea of sales psychology because, we all know that humans are emotional beings and we make decisions based on our emotions. And I think that so many businesses, small businesses, large businesses, entrepreneurs make the mistake of not putting that element of emotion into their sales processes, into their marketing, and into their business. Can you kind of share maybe a little bit about how you got into doing sales psychology?
Great question. So I think I was born a psychologist, and that story has to do with coming from a family where my parents had a very stormy marital situation. And literally, as a young child in the family, I tried to bring peace. I was able to actually help them communicate more effectively. They stayed together until I graduated from college. So obviously, I did something of value at that point in time. But when I graduated and I got trained in the mental health field and was hired to do employee assistance programs in the workplace, which are interventions to help people with mental health addiction problems. And I was marketing and selling them. Well, I didn't know shit from Shinola about selling. And so I went back to school, not to get a degree, to the library to learn about selling. And so as a result, I came across lots of information, and particularly the Platinum Rule, which is a book by Tony Alessandro. And that totally aligned with my values. I went on to create something called the Likability System, likability, not like, but likability. And that quadrupled sales in 90 days. And now I teach that to others.
I love that. I likability. I've not actually heard that word. Did you coin that phrase, I'm assuming?
Yeah, see the trademark symbol?
Oh, I do now. Yes, I do. Yes, I do now. There you go. That's why I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
I like that. That makes a lot of sense. And Angela, I bet you're bubbling with anticipation on asking some questions. You usually are. So it's like she's really good at coming up with some questions, and it goes way above my head.
No, it's just because I'm such a terrible seller. So I love all of these guests that you choose. They're just helping me tremendously. So, am I correct in understanding when you talk about likability that birds of a feather flock together? So we like to purchase from the people that seem most like us?
That's a very good assumption. And indeed, we need to feel comfortable with that other person. You've heard the expression, we do business with those we know, like, and trust. So there is some aspect to liking somebody, but definitely to get to the place of trusting them, there needs to be a feeling like they're like me, they get me, I feel comfortable with them. At the same time, we all have sales resistance. People don't think about that too much, but when we go to the store and the clerk approaches with the usual, may I help you, our knee-jerk reaction is to say, I'm just looking. So we all have sales resistance. And in order to be successful in selling, not only do you need to raise the trust level, you need to lower the resistance, and that will open the doors to doing business together.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, that's good stuff. How about you, Jeff?
Likable.
It is likable. It's a likable.
How much do you recommend having humor play into it?
Humor, of course, is always good, but it turns out that just like I told you, or maybe I didn't share with you, there are 4 distinct ways people make buying decisions. Hence, there are 4 different styles of humor. And so there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach to humor or to communication or to marketing or to anything else. There are 4 different ways that people are literally biologically hardwired and programmed. And hence you need to, of course, adjust your style to match theirs. That's what the likability system is about. And you do it authentically. This is not a monkey see, monkey do copycat situation, but it's adjusting your style based upon the values of the buyer.
Jeff just wants you to say, yes, he can be funny, because
he can. He can.
He needs to hear that.
And obviously to people who share that sense of humor, and I'm sure you've known people, Jeff, am I right, who when you've said something that was extremely funny and witty, they just were like, what's with this guy?
I don't like those people.
Exactly. They are not likable. However, the ones who absolutely, geeked out on your humor, they were the ones that you thought, oh boy, they're like me, right? I feel good with these people. So yeah, there are 4 different humor styles. There truly are.
Right. If humor doesn't work, I whip out this.
Oh.
Then they're like, take my money, right? Take my money. There we go.
I thought they just gave you the coffee mug or something.
You never know. So I like that you've got it separated, because I am a firm believer that you to be able to practice the best sales approach and the best marketing approach, that you have to be comfortable with the fact that putting out who you really are is, I think, very important to do. And then also being okay with your viewer, your potential client, your potential customer, not really liking who that is, to be able to kind of weed through the people that aren't right for you, to be able to get to the people that are. And that can be quite a process for people, especially early on. I know when I first started my business, of course, I had no money, because, people don't talk about at the very beginning that you're like literally working 80 hours and you're like you're writing your business checks, right? Because you have no money, so it's like like clients and customers are coming to you and they might not be a fit, but it's like, oh, I need that cash. So you're just taking whoever. And it takes quite a while sometimes to figure out that, not all money is good money. So when you're teaching this sales psychology process the way that you do, and I don't know if process is the right word, but that's the word that I'm kind of using at this moment. You can correct me. But when you're teaching this, do you take into consideration people that are maybe not used to people not liking their sales approach or their marketing approach or their personality approach, or what is kind of your guidelines with that?
So again, I teach my clients how to identify these 4 buying styles within 30 to 60 seconds. And there's 6 different clues that you can use to figure out who you're speaking with or corresponding with. The first is their vocal qualities, because a lot of times we're talking to somebody, maybe even before we get to meet them or whatever. The second is how they dress. The third is their behavior. The fourth is their writing style or how they write. Fifth is their social media presence or lack thereof. And the last one is decoration of home or office. And those are, as now with Zoom and our ability to see inside people's offices and home spaces, we're getting more and more information about that last one, which is how people decorate or fail to decorate their space.
And I decorated mine.
There you go. Neat and all compact.
My office is set up though where the computer is, where you're getting behind me is the worst. Like every other wall is interesting. Like I used to have a laptop that sat here and it had my bookshelf, and I would wait for people to point out that I had a huge vinyl collection. You know what I mean? Because that was like a conversation starter.
Just put a mirror behind you.
It's like I love your gam. Your agam right there is very nice.
Do you know Agam, by the way, as an artist? As I have an original across the way there.
Yeah, well, it only says Gam, so I knew it was.
Agam.
I used
we can only see the AM from here. Yeah, that's right.
I used to have one, like a huge museum piece of a Agam, like I had a 3-dimensional.
So with the little
where you as you walked it changed.
Yes, it changed. Yeah. I know. I had one of those as well. So it's very exciting. Anyway, we won't geek out on that, right?
I don't even know. I'm just like nodding, like, whoa, yeah. I have no idea.
He's an Israeli artist who I kept saving it. I'm like, it's gonna go through the roof when he dies, and the man is alive is gonna live forever.
He created an art technique called agamograms, and it's exactly what Jeff described. It's 3-dimensional. Little pieces of wood stick out from the surface, and he painted in all 3 sides of the wood, so that as you move around the painting, it literally changes what you see.
I have awesome. Seen some of that. I just didn't realize the name.
Yep.
So
pretty neat. That's what separates Dr. Nancy and I from the rest of the group.
Well, that's okay. There's sometimes just that special bond.
Maria and I have had our days.
Yes, we have.
But that is one of the tricks, right? Notice something in the background and create a connection based on the things that you can now see. Right.
Again, we are looking for connections, but even beyond connection is to actually understand the values of that person's buying style. And so let me share with you that I labeled them 2, 4, 6, and 8, the styles. So the number, and these numbers correspond to the number of contacts needed by the decision maker before he or she can say yes, before they can decide. So the number 2 buyer takes only 1 or 2 contacts and they're good to go. Now that approach is very different than our number 8, who needs 8 or 12 or more contacts before he or she can say yes. So clearly you've got to adjust your presentation, your communication to that person's style. And again, that number 2 is quick, decisive, fast, in a hurry, in a rush. They want the best. It's all about, luxury and being treated like a royalty, etc. That person's different than our number 8, who geeks out on information, takes a deep nosedive, wants to understand explanations, science, research about whatever you're doing. Different presentations are needed. Would you agree?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what's the 6? So what would you determine the 6 to be?
Your 6, by the way, is your average buyer, because if you know anything about sales statistics, 70% of sales are made after the 7th contact. And that 6th person takes about 6 or 7 contacts before they make up their mind. They are doing research, but not scientific. They are looking at the Better Business Bureau and directories to find out your reputation professionally. So they're looking up the history, the background, social testimonies. They want to understand, your professionalism. Are you organized, etc. So that's, again, a very different level of information you want to provide versus your number 8.
Interesting.
So you want to know about the number 4?
Yes.
Okay, so number 4 is all about friendship. They want that human connection with you personally. They actually don't mind spending more money if they know they're supporting a friend, if they're supporting a cause, a charitable foundation, whatever. They want that connection with you as a person. And so they are very friendly, very trusting. They need about 2 or 3 contacts. So they're very fast, +1. That +1 is why I label them 4, because you add 1 and you get, to 2 to 3, you get 4. And that's because within 24 hours, they get buyer's remorse. If you have not circled back and you have not identified that I really care about you personally, it isn't the business transaction, it's the fact that we are now connected, they will no-show, return it, diss you. I mean, they get very, very upset by that because they're looking for that connection with you.
Absolutely. I can see, I'm sitting here thinking over a lot of my clients and I'm like placing them and okay, yeah, that one's this and that one's this. And it makes a lot of sense. It does. It makes a lot of sense.
And so it turns out that these 4 styles, they take different amounts of time to make up their minds, but that means that again, you need to present and communicate with them in a different fashion, including do you text them versus a phone call versus an email? Because again, these people are moving at different paces and looking for a different way of making a decision. And so their values behind the decision is why I talk about, which by the way, the Compelling Selling, which is my latest book, it's all about the words to use that connect quickly and authentically with each of those 4 styles.
Let's go ahead and talk about your book a little bit. Can you share with everybody, first of all, when did you write the book? So is that something that's new?
Yeah, it's new. What happened is last year, January 2020, excuse me, I had an international bestseller called Words That Sell with Style. And it was electronic, and I was intending to publish it in April as a printed book. And COVID happened, and there were no book signings and no bookstores open and so forth. And so it gave me the time to take that book and actually revise it substantially. And so in October of 2020, that's when I came out Compelling Selling. And so there's a good part of Words That Sell with Style in the book, but then it's a whole new approach to the 2, 4, 6, 8, because I put them in order for the reason that I just explained. When you understand that people need different amounts of time to make a decision, it's going to absolutely inform how you present, communicate, influence, and sell.
So, Dr. Nancy, can you tell me if a buyer type is buying different types of products, do they also shift their buying type? I'm reflecting on myself. When I'm in a hurry and I have my son and he really does not like to clothes shop, we hop in, we find exactly what he needs, and we hop right back out. Like, this is an in, one done, thank you, gotta go, right? Like, it's very much a hunting expedition. But my engineering background and scientific analysis on anything that's certainly a long-term product or a higher quality product or a lifestyle choice, then I am definitely box 12. Is there like box 20? Because I'm way over there.
Definitely. So it turns out that we are a combination of all 4 styles, just in a different amount and a different order. And the style that is prevalent in our work decisions may not be the same style we use in a personal decision. So your question, Angela, is extremely astute, that yes, different products, hence different parts of our life, would bring out perhaps a different style. And that style that, executive, quick, you were number 2 when it came to your son, and getting what you needed, that makes perfect sense. But then, as you said, other important decisions, this is where the number 8 looks for things that are practical and utilitarian. And specifically, they're looking for things that have value over time. Hence, they will go for a more expensive item if they understand that it will have a longer lifespan and serve them better over time.
Mm-hmm. What did Zig Ziglar say? Price is what you pay and value is what you get.
And we want value. People want value.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that value is. For the number 2, the value is expediency. It's off my plate. I've got it done. Like with the case of your child, I got it done and off to the next thing because I don't have time to fool. Time is my most valuable commodity here.
Yes.
Whereas when it was, say, buying a car, it's like, no, I got to really look into this. I really got to understand, the longevity and the cost versus this, that, and the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you shared that because I was in there trying to think what I was.
Maria is trying to box herself. She's really unboxable.
I am unboxable because I am, even though you just said car, I am that person that walks on the lot and goes, I want that one. And they're like, you want to test drive it? Do I have to? Well, we at least need to ride it around the block. Okay, fine. We'll ride it around the block. I'll take this one. But there are things that I don't look at a car as a long-term investment though, because it just like as soon as you drive it the lot, it's depreciated anyway. So, but on long-term investments, I do really look into things. But I don't know. I'm glad that you said it because I was like, I don't know what I am. I'm a freak of nature, which I still am a little bit.
We are definitely a combination of all 4.
Yeah.
And in the context, as Angela pointed out, makes a huge difference in which style is prevalent at the time. And there's always one style that will be, your bottom, your kind of your choo-choo train, right? And that style is your least developed style. And so there's a good chance that's not the one you go to in general. But the first 2 styles play back and forth with each other.
I feel like there's oh, sorry. Go ahead, Angela.
Sorry, Maria. Maybe it also speaks to your values.
That's what I was going to say.
You're deploying. Sorry.
No, it's good.
Which one you're deploying at it. I know, we're crazy. For example, so I'll use the clothes shopping again. My sister is very much focused on how the fashion reflects her character, right? So when she clothes shops, she puts a lot of effort and thought into the entire thing. I work for manufacturing. We wear blue jeans and the polos that they issue us. Like, that's what I wear. My wardrobe is horribly boring Monday through Friday. It's a little more interesting on the weekend, but in general, not that much more interesting. And so for me to go clothes shopping is very much an executive. I must get in, I must get out, as long as the jeans look reasonably professional and fit whatever polo is being issued to me. That's what I'm wearing. But her case is a different type of professionalism, in which she feels very much judged by the way she presents herself, and therefore, but she also enjoys looking professional. I wonder if there's not some underlying psychology associated with that as well, like which one you're employing reflects the values and the context in which you're actually applying that product.
Yeah. Again, because there are dominant values for each of the 4 styles, like the number 2 style there, I mentioned that expediency is one of their major values. And so that may be, the one that takes over in a particular occasion. In the number 4 style, the dominant value is connectedness, or that rapport, that relationship. The number 6, it is kind of following the rules and tradition and being a part of the pack, and staying there within the norm. And the number 8, the number 8 is that independent thinker, and the go deep, and I got to figure it out myself. So these are very different, again, values that come to play depending, again, like you said, on context. Where am I in terms of this particular situation? I know that clothing is very interesting because I mentioned that's one of the ways you can pick up on somebody's style. Your number 2 person is a clothes horse, and they love to look their best and want to flaunt it, and designer labels, and the stiletto heels and the cufflinks and the monogrammed on the collar cuff and all sorts of things. They really enjoy looking spiffy. The number 4, it's all about casual and comfortable and down to earth and no ceremony, and just let it all hang out, and the looseness and the flowiness and all that. And then our number 6 is very like a dry cleaner, pressed, starched, prim and proper, and always dressed properly, very conservatively. And our number 8 is, what, clothes just don't matter. It's what's the content of the mind, and hence their second style is what clothes them. So they may choose the 6 style, which is kind of conservative, because they figure, they know the rules, that they're going to, so I'll just, except I don't have any time to iron. I don't want to look like I got creases in my trousers, and, I'm not tucking in the shirt in my belt line. Forget that.
So what about you, Jeff? What do you feel like, listening to her psychology? Where do you feel like you fall?
I don't think I can be cracked. I think I'm different depending on how much I know about the thing that I need to buy. Is that, what I mean? There's certain things I don't care about. Like Maria, I'm with you on the car. I'm like, does the key work when I turn it? Yes. All right. Then can I have it in blue? What I mean?
4 wheels, right?
Right. I mean, so certain things I'll go in, like there's certain high price things like a car, like when I say high price, I mean, like, what I mean?
Yeah.
And, that I'll kind of spend no time on because I don't care. It's to me, right? I'm with Maria.
It's a tool. Yeah.
And then, if like we're doing something like at work and we're building a tool that maybe has something to do with, my day-to-day where I know how I'm going to use it, I'll be more skeptical and push. If it's something I don't know about because the boss asked me to do it and it sounds right, I'm always, the thing that I always have issue with sales is the meetings are always great until you buy it, and then you find out the 50 things that it doesn't do because A only goes to B to C if you bought D. And you never mentioned D, and then or A only works with B if you do this, and like those things start to come out. So those, depending on how many mousetraps there might be for that, is dependent on how much I might push back. And then price sometimes plays into how long it can take to commit or not commit, just based on the hoops you need to go through. Cheaper things that are high or low risk, all right, well, so you lose X amount, what I mean? But if it's, enough where it's the equivalent of someone's salary, then, that, you're going to get your ass handed to you if something doesn't work. So, so I think it all depends. It's like, there's no specific.
Jeff is our critical thinker.
Well, actually, Jeff, you're revealing yourself as a strong number 8, even though you might not necessarily identify with that. But that is the thoughtful, critical, analytical person. And again, you don't waste your mental energy on things that are inconsequential.
I like to think of myself as a 10, but if 8's the best,
as a 10,
if 8's the best on this scale, I guess I'll take it.
Jeff, I was already at 12, so you're going to have to keep up.
You will appreciate this particular story. One of my clients who knows this system very well, and part of the system, what makes me unique, there are 3 things, including asking for permission. And so every time she would talk with this particular decision maker, who was the number 8, she would ask for permission to contact this person again in about 3 months. So over the course of 3 years, She contacted this person every 3 months. So we're talking about at least 4 contacts. And each time, of course, the decision maker, no. And then she happened to call. I don't know if it was the 13th, the 14th, or the 15th time. And the person said, I've got my credit card ready. When do we start?
That's a long time. That's commitment right there.
Well, and again, it's that person heard the messages previously about what the service or product was, and eventually it then rose up as a need, and they were ready to go. And that, so that's actually an 8-2 combination where the person took a long time to make up their minds, and then it's like, go, let's get it done, let's get it off the plate.
So
yeah, I can see that.
I'm currently being, I don't know, not hustled, that's not the right word, but somebody is currying my financial favor, right? They want to sell something to me. And it's a high ticket item, but I'm finishing my dissertation. And so I keep telling them, call me in 3 months, we'll see how far I am. And I really I would say I'm like 90% sure that when I'm done and when I have the financial resources and the time to commit to that financial commitment, right? I will buy from them, but it's definitely every 3 months. If she just needs to kind of check in and keep me warm, really.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell her, but.
And again, but you see, a lot of people don't follow up. Again, just to cite some sales statistics, there's a huge percentage of 48% who never follow up even once. Never follow up even once. So you said no, and then that's it. They cross you off the list, and they go on because sales quote is a numbers game. So they just run to find the 2 to 3% who say yes today. Mm-hmm. And then there is of that 52% who will follow up once. Again, half of them fall off, and only 26% will follow up a second time. And of that 26, so do you get the idea of how rare it is for someone to follow up over time? So you say that, yeah, you're ready to go forward. You would be, again, with certain provisions. Does that person have a gumption, to keep following up?
Right.
Follow-up is a big sales activity. The fortune is in the follow-up, and too few people truly have a dedicated follow-up system. And again, if you understand the buyer style, then you know what kind of follow-up you should be doing.
That's going to be my quote of the day. Fortune is in the follow-up.
Well, it's not original to me. It's I believe comes from Jim Rohn, who was a famous American motivational speaker and sales trainer.
Jim Rohn.
Yeah, do you? Me too.
I got to see Jim Rohn speak once. I was
isn't
upset
he
it was
phenomenal?
I was upset it was only once. Jim Rohn's like the guy that basically inspired Anthony Robbins. Tony Robbins.
Very folksy, and but so clever, so bright, really sharp guy.
Yeah. If you knew you only had to eat an apple a day to stay healthy, would you? It's like that kind of.
Yeah. I like it.
He's worth looking up if you haven't.
He's great. Yeah, he's good. I like Tony Robbins too, and Dean Graziosi. Those are 3 people I really like.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you, Nancy.
I'm not derailed. I go with the flow, folks.
Nancy's an 8, so she can deal with your 2.
The best salespeople are chameleons. They're able to flex themselves according to the other person's style. And that is essentially what the likability system is about. And again, to do it authentically, to do it based on the values of your buyer. Again, not in a manipulative way, but in a genuine service way.
Mm-hmm. So, statistically, is your sales approach different when you're selling knowledge products? So if you're selling a course, a lot of entrepreneurs today are selling online training of some sort, right? Especially with this COVID era, is your approach, and now with the digital, you really don't have as many opportunities to make these face-to-face contacts. Is the digital approach, do you see a shift in people's purchasing methods as a result of the COVID, as a result of the type of product that you're selling or buying? How does that play into the overall picture?
So I mentioned that I call them 2, 4, 6, and 8 based upon number of contacts. Well, a contact when it is digital is not the same as a contact that is person. You know, a phone or a visit or a Zoom meeting, etc., is a very different contact than sending an email or text message. First of all, the email may go in the spam folder and never be seen, or it may go in your normal folder, but you look at the person who's coming from or the subject line and you never open it, or you open it but then the phone rang or something happened and you never read it, and on and on. So these kinds of messages where there's a time delay and an uncertainty about whether the prospect even read or received it, that's less robust than a regular contact. And that may be the reason why it actually takes longer for people to make certain decisions and to get customers. So it is a new strategy when we have to be 100% digital.
It's hard. We use Bitly links to sort of try to spy. Like, so if we share like a deck or something, I'll send them a Bitly link of the URL. So when they go, no one was interested, and it says 0 opens.
Yeah, well, and a lot. Have you noticed that a lot of the email marketing tools and so forth are now trying to help us identify who opened or who viewed or how many views and so forth. So because there is a recognition that just sending communication in one direction is not communication. Communication has to be returned in order for the circuit to be completed.
Absolutely. Analytics are an important part of any part of a business. And I know a lot of people don't really look at their analytics on everything to be able to determine what the next step should be. And they're just kind of like diving in and trying some things, but they're never really sure without checking the analytics what's working and what's not.
Right. Right. So, you know, these are all the tools that we're trying to use in order to figure out, again, how to be better at marketing and better at sales. I mean, the whole idea of marketing is to bring a qualified prospect in front of the sales representative. We could be one and the same, you know, with an entrepreneur, you are both the marketer and the seller, but sometimes those positions are divided up in a company. And yet, these are challenges that we have. And again, what the marketing person says and what the salesperson says, as you pointed out, Jeff, when you get home and you receive the item, it's like, but it didn't do what I thought it was supposed to do. They didn't give me all the info. And you feel like, you know, again, just to make the sale, you got told one thing, but the actual product did something else.
Which is super common, especially like I'm in the marketing world. And I always call them predatory marketing companies because there are so many predatory marketing companies out there that will, you know, overpromise all the bells and whistles. And then, you know, get people excited, sign them up, get them started. And about 60, 90 days later, nobody can get a hold of them again. And I end up getting those clients coming to me saying, hey, I can't get a hold of my marketing company. We need somebody to help us. And you get in the back end and we can see what they've done and not done once we're able to get access. And they've not done nothing. They've done no things. And I think that's what gives, you know, sales companies, marketing companies a bad name, because there are so many of these companies out there that are doing these things. And I think that's why transparency is so important, much to Jeff's point earlier.
Yeah. Again, just like there are 4 buying styles, there are actually 4 selling styles. And they too, I use 2, 4, 6, 8, but those numbers don't necessarily have to do with numbers of contacts. It's just they have a similar mindset as to the number 2 buyers. So the number 2 seller is very transactional. Let's get it done. I'm in a hurry. You know, let's go on to the next person. And they may say anything just to get the sale because it's about winning and succeeding and on to the next conquest. The number 4 person, again, wants that connection with you and wants to be a friend. And, you know, and that, again, that works for some buyers, they really are looking for that. And for other buyers, it's like, this is way too personal. I'm not looking for my seller to want to get to know me that way. And the number 6, it's buy the book. Let's follow the rules. What are the questions I have to ask? Let's, if we deviate, it's hard for me to, go out of the norm here, because this is what I've been told to do. And the number 8, they lay it out logically. And you should know whether to make up your mind. And they don't ask. They don't want to pressure because they don't want to be pressured. So different styles again. And if you understand both your own style and the buyer's style, then you can make adjustments that lead to more success.
I'm thinking I'm a number 4 on both. I don't know. I think I am. I keep listening and I'm like, I'm leaning more towards 4 on both angles. Here's an example of how not to sell right here. We just got spammed with a whole bunch of these. So
wait, I did buy those followers. And
did
really,
you? That was
really good.
Yeah. It's a terrible idea for so many reasons.
See, this is the thing that bothers me too, and it bothers you as well. And that is, there's no one has made an inquiry as to whether or not there's a pain point. Is there something that is bothering you guys? Are you unhappy with your current level of followers or whatever it might be? And instead, there's an assumption made. If you've got the show, you want followers. I can deliver the followers. Yeah. You need me. I mean, that's their logic. That's their ploy. And this happens to me constantly, especially I find through LinkedIn that I get all these requests to connect with the person. Why? Because I'm going to upscale your business. I'm going to make you successful. I'm going to bring in more revenue. I've got clients for you. I've got leads.
Is there psychology to that? Because I don't like LinkedIn, and here's why. Exactly what you said. I get anxiety about opening my LinkedIn account, and I'll get on there. There'll be like 100 and some private messages, and it overwhelms me. So I just don't even get on there very, very rarely because I don't like hard selling. I know. I don't like hard selling. I'm not a hard seller. I never have been. What I have to offer, I look at like a service. And so I'm not going to chase people down, beating them over the head that they need my service. It's just not who I am. And so when people do that to me, it's almost an insult.
It is a real turnoff. In fact, I have a new system that I have just recently developed with a colleague, and we call it conversational soft selling, because it's the opposite of the hard sell. And it's a conversation that you have with somebody as if they're a friend. You don't treat friends that way. You don't pressure them, and you don't bully them, and you don't make them feel, that they're a rotten egg because they made a different decision. You stand by with them, you consult with them, and you hope that, they might choose to go forward because of the fact that this is the best fit, not because of some other reason.
Absolutely. And go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say that the Twitch is where you're getting all these bots. And the one that Maria put up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 7, all from bigfollows.com. And anyway, it's insane. But on LinkedIn, I was just thinking this earlier today. It's so annoying. They're like, hey, I noticed you have the word marketing on your profile. Yeah, that's me and everyone. It's like, give me a break. Or they'll go like, hey, I like your business. Maybe we can, and I'll go, which business? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I got 10 things on my LinkedIn, right? And it's like, or they're like, listen to your podcast. I'm like, oh, really? What episode? And but they all are like, it's such a ridiculous connection. There's no real connection they're making there.
No, what you said, connection, there's none. It's all based upon, again, a bot who's finding words, and then some message has been canned and out it goes to you. And it looks like it's coming from a person. It's coming from, a bot, and it's very disturbing to me too.
It is. Yeah. And I think
apparently I don't have the right words on my LinkedIn.
You don't have do you have marketing or sales? Because those are 2 triggers.
Absolutely not.
So that's why, because it's a lot of lead gen.
They're scared of Angela. They know they can't mess with Angela.
No, they mess with me all the time. And here's the thing: there could be something lost in all my messages that I need more than anything, and I will never know because I'm not reading them.
Yeah, but LinkedIn used to be the type of LinkedIn was the platform where you connected with people that you literally knew. So it was actually a useful thing. So if all of a sudden, if I saw that Angela knew Dr. Nancy and I needed to get a hold of Dr. Nancy, I knew if I reached out to Angela, she knew Dr. Nancy.
Yep.
Now there's a 99.8% chance that anyone who's connected to anyone has no idea who those people are. And it makes LinkedIn completely useless. I was, I've been on LinkedIn forever. I happen to have, just because I've worked so many places and you pick up, lots of things along the way. So I've got a decent following, like maybe 1,000, I don't know, a couple thousand, which on LinkedIn to me is a reasonable, but there's people with 80,000. It's like, there's no, that's, now you're treating this like Instagram and it's like, but LinkedIn, like with their stories now, where you can link like in the other platforms, you have to have like 5,000 or 10,000 followers. I'm like, so you're rewarding the people who are spamming the system, and you're not the actual hardcore people. So it's like one of those things where it's like, it's becoming a useless. Yeah,
I've sadly I think of less and less of LinkedIn.
Yeah, used to be great in the heyday.
Yeah, I had written over 90 articles that I had posted on LinkedIn, years back, because it was one of these thought platforms where you could exchange with other professionals and like-minded people and get feedback. And now it's like, it's just, I don't know, it's changed.
Right.
Yeah, it was more where I would write something similar to maybe a white paper, like not full-on analysis, of course, but then also not like some quickie blog post, right?
Yeah.
But so it was a nice, as you said, thought generator, conversation, like real conversation starter, not, hey, thumbs up or something like that. Really, it doesn't drive that anymore. Yeah. Not in the same way.
No. And it's also become, I think, more for finding jobs, which again, that could be a use of it, but not the only use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. So what's the way? Wait, somebody needs to create another
platform,
platform that doesn't ruin it like LinkedIn has. I agree. I liked LinkedIn before it got super spammy. So, oh well.
TikTok. It's all TikTok.
Oh my gosh. I have a TikTok account. I'm not good at TikTok. I just
your kids.
Use it for your
kids need TikTok.
Hey, not Dr. Nancy. Before we get too far to the end of the show, where can we get your book?
So the book is available on Amazon. However, if you want to pay a little less money and get an autographed copy, it's also available on my website, rapportbuilders.com/book. And
That's
Rapport Builders, the end of the Rapport Builders ends in a Z for Zare, not S. So Rapport Builders. And rapport is the word that means people coming together and feeling comfortable with one another. I have to say that because it's rapport, or is it construction company? No, we're constructing relationships.
All right.
Rapport.
Yeah, so if you'd like an autographed copy, go to rapportbuilders.com. Not only will you get an autographed copy of the book, by the way, it's nice and skinny so that it reads pretty quickly, but you will also get some amazing cue cards that talk about the different personality styles. And again, they're like cheat sheets that you can use to help you identify the 4 styles and what it is to say to create rapport quickly and authentically.
Are any of those personalities cray-cray?
I haven't classified one that way.
Jeff's is cray-cray.
Yeah.
That's all right. I love cray-cray Jeff anyway.
So actually, I have an interesting question.
All of your questions have been interesting, Angela. She's a good thinker.
We'll be the judge. We'll be the judge.
I was going to say,
we'll be the judge of that, Angela. You just throw out a question.
Opinion, we'll I have an interesting question. Right. Sorry. The words are so important. They have so much power, right? And you talk about establishing that authentic relationship with someone. Is within your selling, is there also that next step that goes to resolving conflict or the dissatisfied customer? Do you have that as part of that as well, or is that maybe something to look forward to in the future?
It's something to look forward to in the future, but the same principles hold again. And of course, with a big important caveat, and that is you need to listen. when somebody is disturbed and they have a complaint or an objection, I mean, that's when you really need to listen carefully to what it is that is bothering them and respond to that.
We have been using two phrases recently around here, and one is that hurting people say hurtful things. Mm-hmm. And so when you hear a hurtful statement, then maybe hear that someone's hurting. And then the other one is giving them grace and space.
Nice.
Trying to like tie these two together to create empathy and patience. Sure. And, there's obviously 2020, 2021 has been very difficult. So trying to use these phrases to sort of create that mental pause, mm-hmm. that mental grace, the mental grace for the other person and give them that space. And then how do you find the right words to bring them back to a sense of calm so you can have a real conversation again?
So one thing, when somebody is, hurting, they're actually saying more about themselves than they are about you. Even when they use your name in the sentence. The number 4 personality style tends to take things personally. They're very quick to self-reflect, look inward, question themselves. What did I just say or do? There must be something wrong with me. And that's a very typical number 4 response. But the truth of the matter is that when anyone utters a sentence, even though your name is in that sentence, it's about them. And like you said, if they're saying something hurtful, then it's coming from a place where they themselves are feeling pain and discomfort and hurt.
And at that point, they usually just want to feel understood.
Yes, they need to obviously get it out. And a lot of times what we have to be aware of is that just because somebody is having a symptom doesn't mean we have to stand there and take it. So if they're being rude and abusive and in a way that doesn't serve you, then, time out. Let's get out of the situation, step away and let time, let things simmer down, etc.
I think that's very, very good advice. And I did put the link to your book in the comments. And I also just bought a copy. So Angela might have good questions, but I just bought your book. So there's that.
Wow, you are my newest best friend.
I'm a teacher's pet.
Yes, you are.
Did you buy it from Dr. Nancy?
I bought it. I did not buy it. I bought it on her website.
Good.
That's right. From me, it's cheaper than Amazon and you get an autographed copy.
See? And I'll cherish it.
Thank you.
But will you use it?
I will. I've read all the books that I bought. I love to read, actually.
Yeah. And this one's a quick read and it's kind of a reference book. So I think you'll enjoy it.
I like that.
I'm going to get it too. So it looks like
two
of us. Angela,
my two besties.
Angela isn't interested in your book. I'm sorry.
I am super interested.
Yeah, but
in your book.
She's going to buy it too.
Angela's too focused on herself.
On asking good questions. Yeah, I get it.
If I may share a thought.
We haven't had 8 touches yet. Sorry.
That's right. You need more time to get to know me and warm up and find out whether I've got anything of value.
Right.
I'm certain that you do.
If I may share a thought that the New York Times has referred to as the greatest thought of 2021. No,
hashtag
hashtag
greatest thought of 2021.
Yeah, actually, I don't have any. This was great though. I've enjoyed this.
Good.
I'm gonna get your book. And
Jeff, what's your thought?
No, I was kidding. I was just making fun of you. I was making fun of you.
He was trying to elevate, and
I was giving my own thing, Grandma.
And bring some attention to him.
Yeah. So, Dr. Nancy,
Typical
Jeff's website is jeffisfunny.com. So just so you know, that's who he is as a person.
All right.
you as a person. So
JeffIsfunny.com.
you can psychoanalyze that one too.
Okay. Yep. And when I love helping my clients figure out, again, if you've got a big prospect that is coming up and maybe you've never even met this person, but you've scheduled an appointment, I can tell you what their style is. You can go in prepared. You can go in with a good, understanding of what to expect from the other person. Hence, that will give you the edge in terms of the conversation. And so that's what I do for my clients. That's what I can do for you.
So do they go to the same website, the Rapport Builders with a Z.com?
That's where all the goodies take place. Everything, all the wonderful things. So
I think. Well, the reason my website is Jeff is funny before you is because it was just because my last name is Dwoskin. It's the same reason I would have said don't use the word rapport. It's a website. It's a hard word to spell.
I know, it is interesting. I didn't think about it at the time because rapport was exactly the right word of what I was trying to build. I was trying to build rapport, etc. But
so you can go to jeffdwoskinshow.com and you'll pull up my podcast. But I have Jeff is funny because people can actually know those words.
Spell the words.
And that's a good reason to take the website. Yeah.
So.
That's great.
So do you have anything else that you want to leave with our listeners or viewers before we end the show?
So if anyone contacts me on that website, I do have a free scorecard called the Likability Assessment, where you can learn about your style. Because after all, Maria's trying to figure out hers. Jeff isn't, clear. I think Angela decided that she knows what hers is. But if you're unclear what your style is, I will give you that assessment at no cost. And just mention that you heard it on this show, because I like to reward people who promote the show and are good listeners and audiences.
Awesome. And we appreciate that. So make sure you go to Rapport Builders, RAPPORTBUILDERZ.com.
Thank you.
So, all right. And Angela, Jeff, do you have anything that you want to say? I was reading it and I skipped a letter, so that shows where I'm at.
I have one thing to ask is where on the website is the book?
You have to go rapportbuilders.com/book, and that takes you directly to the page.
I put it in the comments too.
/book. Okay.
Got it.
Okay.
So, all right. Well,
you guys are a hoot. I can't wait to hear other episodes.
Dr. Nancy, thank you so much for joining us today. It was really a pleasure.
My pleasure very much. Thank you.
Yes,
Dr. Nancy, you're awesome.
You are awesome. She is.
Maybe the next time we talk, I'll be Dr. Angela.
I love it.
That would be great. There's
many more sleepless nights in my future.
You'll be Dr. Buckley.
Buckley.
I'm going to call you Dr. Buckley. That sounds better.
I think she gets to pick her name, though. I mean, that's usually the rules.
No.
Okay. Just decided, I guess. All right. Until next week, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Business Acceleration Playbook, bringing you the plays that you need to win in your business. Until next time.
Thank you.